My name is Lorenzo Pace, born in Birmingham, Alabama. My father was a bishop in the church in Birmingham, Alabama, and in Chicago. I'm the baby in the photograph in the installation, and I'm the seventh child. I went to the first University of Illinois in Chicago, then the Art Institute of Chicago, where I got my MFA, and went on to Illinois State University to get my doctorate in art education and in sculpture. I'm more or less involved in all kinds of material. I look to found objects. I look at the jazz, I look at the blues. I grew up in the church music, the dance. I'm from a sanctified church. That's where they dance, music, speaking in tongue, and go into spirit. And my mother also, who was a quilt maker. Some of my work incorporate her quilts. The title of the piece is Jelani and the Lock, Family History, Our Past, Our Present, and Our Future. I look at my past and I always have to go back to Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization. That's where all races, all creeds, all religion, all architecture, all dance, all music come from the cradle of my mother, and the motherland is Africa. So if you look to the very top, you would see the mass coming down to the ground and growing to the African burial ground. That's where the 427 African and African American slaves were discovered in 1991 in New York City. Second largest slave port in the country. Over 20,000 African and African American were buried in that site. And we move to the present. You see the lock. The lock is the lock that enslaved my great-grandfather, Steve Pace, in Creekstand, Alabama. So I started with the lock and see the tree starting in Africa, passing up through the lock. It goes to Steve Pace, which is my great-grandfather. Then goes to Joseph Pace, it's my grandfather. Then it goes to my father. And then goes to my uncle. My uncle was the one that gave me the lock. They've had the lock in this family for over 100 years, and they passed that lock on to me. And that lock was the impetus for me to write the children's book, The Present. That book was inspired by my 8-year-old daughter's question, Daddy, are we from slaves? The Statue of Liberty is a beacon of what we see now as a symbol of hope, a symbol of immigrants, but also a symbol of freedom. We're still researching the background of the Statue of Liberty, but as of now, what we have gotten so far is that she was a model of a black woman. The Statue of Liberty on the island, she has shackles around her foot, and she has a chain around her hand. And if you see the Statue of Liberty, she has the shackle, and that shackle was used for children. And you see Johnny in the Lock up there, he's hanging out in Central Park. That is the essence of what we are, where we are today. And we can't be ashamed of that. We have to be proud that we're able to get through a very, very difficult part of our history. And now we have to have the job of educating. And this is what the New York Historical Society is about, is educating. And we all have to be a part of that. And we all have to be a part of the process of bringing the next generation into the truth.